We are super excited. Got a big announcement. So we thought it would be fun to share a few things that went on behind the scenes.
Interesting to see how over time we got better and better. We had no clue to start, but by the time we were done, we had a decent idea of them. Don't have them perfect, but
I think I did pretty good.
I guess. I don't know why I'm saying we. George is the tech guy and I'm just the talent.
Welcome to the Live Truly Free podcast, where we provide fatherly guidance to entrepreneurs at any level of their journey. Hi, I'm George Black, and this is AJ. Are you ready for this week's adventure of building great companies and discovering the Live Truly Free lifestyle for entrepreneurs? Awesome. Let's get started.
So guys, we are super excited. Got a big announcement. AJ and I have just finished recording the audio book of The Next Level Entrepreneur. Now, we got a little ways to go. We got editing to do, but we're very, very excited to get the recording past us. So we thought it would be fun to share a few things that went on behind the scenes. We are in the actual audio book recording studio.
Yeah, it was a great time recording it. It was interesting to see how over time we got better and better at actually recording the thing. Because on day one, everything that we recorded, actually, did we even record on day one? I know we didn't get anything that's going in the final.
We actually have recording on day one, but we didn't use any of it.
Yeah, I know we didn't use any of it. I don't even know if we turned on the mics because we had to work through all the technical difficulties, figure out the setup we got here, the actual process and system to make it efficient. A lot went into it behind the scenes that you wouldn't expect when you first start.
Yeah, this is definitely, so it's a do-it-yourself. But we created this sound-absorbing little booth, if you would, and even put pillows on top, which when we did that, it was like, whoa, this is really absorbing. It is not soundproof.
Yeah, so that came with a problem. We're not too far from the nearest airport here. So anytime we hear a plane in the distance, that immediately stops recording and
wait for it to buzz by, or
or people working on the street. You gotta go check outside, see if they're gonna come past, and if we need to take like an hour or two break until they're done. But fortunately, we lucked out on that one actually.
Yeah. So it's been actually a very fun process, learning process. It is a ton of work.
I spent 2 weeks on it.
And actually a week before that, I spent prepping and figuring it out and how we were going to record it. So there's very strict recording requirements by we're using Amazon, and when you upload to them, they've got, different ranges of decibels and RMS and all these very wonky audio requirements that we had no clue about. And
we had no clue to start, but by the time we were done, we had a decent idea of them. Don't have them perfect, but
I think I did pretty good.
I guess. I don't know why I'm saying we. George is the tech guy and I'm just the talent.
So let me show you the studio real quick. It's not going to take you long for the tour, but so the way we did it was one of us was at this computer here and also reading along, so that we wanted to make sure that all the words written in the book are actually read, which we discovered we would just skip words, or we would just add words or make words up.
Yeah. I was big on just adding random ofs and prepositions.
He loves extra prepositions.
Because it felt like I was combining Max and myself, and I guess I talk a little bit.
Well, and we should explain that. So we're reading the book here and into the mic, and then the other person's monitoring the whole process as we go. And if we start and stop, they can fix that. But so the book, for those who don't know, is The Next Level Entrepreneur, Focus Your Passions, Map Your Directions, Build a Great Company. And it's a book of letters, actually. It's a young man named Max North who writes a seasoned entrepreneur, very successful tycoon in New York City, who Max hopes he'll be his entrepreneurial sage. So I read the letters by Mr. A, and Max here AJ here reads the letters.
George even has us confused too.
Yeah. So there's two voices in the book, and there's two voices in the audio book. So Mr. A and Max.
Yeah. and getting into character was a whole nother thing.
Oh,
Because it took time as we got better and more into the character as we did it more and more often, because
Right.
I was learning more what Max was feeling, almost feeling like an actor. And actually, I said that one point. I was like, "Oh, it almost feels like I'm acting." And George said, "You are acting."
Yes.
Like trying to coach the talent into doing its book right.
We really want the book to be a fun listen. It's just got so much great stuff in it, and so we really wanted to bring everything into that as best we could. I guess I should explain a little bit more about our setup for those listening, and you can see it on the YouTube channel Live Truly Free, or if you're just listening. So what we've got is it's really just surrounded in blankets, and it's a little booth. So we've got actually, this is an exercise mat. It's very padded, but it's very sound absorbing, and it's fascinating because this person over here couldn't always hear the planes, but there's a window behind here, and you could hear the planes. So it really did work. And when you get into this, then you provide kind of the fourth wall, and all of our letters and chapters passed.
Yeah.
They've all been accepted.
Yeah. Now we just got to go through and edit them again to
Right.
eliminate all the pauses and any like lip smacks or anything like that. So it's a pleasurable experience for anyone listening.
Well, and that was something I got. Even now, it's real funny. I'm very conscious about my breathing, because the guy who wrote this book, me, wrote some really long sentences, and you go, right in the middle of a sentence, and so you've got to pace your breath. You've got to think about all that. So you got to where you really learn that, and so we would just put long breaths in between sentences, and so we want to come in and cut those out and clean it up.
Yeah,
so.
And the breath thing, same thing with me. Ever since we started doing this, I'm way more conscious of it, even just like in normal conversation. And then like this weekend, I was with family, and we were talking about whatever, and pull up something on Google, and I start reading it. And I was reading it like with that self-conscious, like, period, you got to pause.
Yeah,
Comma, take your breath here because you don't got another one for a while.
Right.
Like, that type of thought process was going through my head.
The other thing that you brought up was with certain words we just couldn't pronounce them.
Yeah, and George found some words from a very old dictionary, apparently.
Well, I actually wrote some words I couldn't pronounce. So the letters are set in 1940. They started in 1941, and they go through World War II and after the war. And so Mr. A, and even now I can hear my breathing, so I'm very conscious now. It's like, oh, but so Mr. A so Max is returning back from the war. This is not a scene spoil. And he's going to meet Max at I thought it was quay, which is a word for dock, the docks. Yeah. And it's a really great, I learned it in Scrabble, actually, not an old dictionary, because it's a great, you can clean up. If you can play quay on a triple word score, you get all kinds of points.
Q-U-A-Y.
Q-U-A-Y, right. But it's pronounced key. So only you all listening to the podcast, if you get the book and you hear Mr. A meets him at the key, you're going to know it's really...
The first time he did it, he said quay.
I said quay. And it was like, and what did you say? You were like, what is this word?
There was two. The biggest one was be jiggered. I had absolutely no idea what that could mean.
Yeah, so at the end of the book, Max is really happy, and he says, I'm be-jiggered. And it's actually a phrase in the 20s. It's actually a phrase really more from the 20s, 30s kind of a moment. And it's you're confounded, you can't believe how well it's going. It's a cause for excitement, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And that one tripped me up when I read it, or when I came across it. I think I just stopped before I even read it. I was like, George, what are you telling me to say here? And then the next one, I just couldn't pronounce it, and I had no idea what it was. Was that Esprit de Corps? I know it was military
It's
talk.
a spree.
And I still don't know it, I guess.
Yeah. It is. It's used a lot in the military, and Max, having been in the military, will be using that terminology. And then I stumbled on a word that it's easy to write, makes a lot of sense but inestimable. I'll keep putting in a bubble in the inestimable. Inestimable.
Like you can't estimate it.
So if you're in the shower driving by yourself, you can practice inestimable.
And the funny thing, especially with that word, and it happened multiple times, not even with like actual hard words,
right?
Where it's just like you know how to say something, and you know when you say it wrong, and then you redo it, and then you just keep saying it wrong over like 5 times in a row until that one time you finally get it right. You're like, all right, we just gotta. Even if you make a mistake on the next sentence, you're like, save the one that we've been messing up on.
Okay, so there's one more thing that you want everyone to know about when I would start a letter.
Oh, yes. George the slow starter. He was never ready to go. Or he thought he was ready.
I was ready. I was always ready.
Anytime George would read a letter, you can guarantee the start of it, it's at least take 2. Maybe on 1 or 2 letters, it's the first try. But he would read the title of the letter, the date the letter was, and then Dear Max, and maybe get 1 or 2 sentences. He might get the paragraph on a couple times. And then he's just going to go, no, we got to do it again. Or he'll make a mistake on the first sentence. But yeah, every time you start a letter, it's always take 2 that we actually start for the book.
Yeah, so we want to share 2 letters with you all. Graciously, Integro Press has said, yes, it's okay. These are pre-release, so they've not gone through the final cleanup edit, but they are correct in terms of all the words are there. There may be some longer pauses, that sort of thing, but so they're early in the book. And Max, the first letter is going to be from Max. You want to set it up?
Yeah, sure. So basically, Max, young entrepreneur, he writes to Mr. A, like George was just saying. George is Mr. A in this case, and he's asking him for help about life, business. Like he's just trying to find his way in the world. And he writes to the successful media tycoon, says, how did you know the future?
Right.
With the implication that Max figured, he's a billionaire. We don't get enough words, but very rich man. Right. He had to be able to predict the future to be able to accumulate such riches, was what Max was thinking. And then Mr. A writes back to him, I just dreamed of it. I actually didn't know anything. I was just dreaming and following the dreams. And so Max replies, very incredulous. He's like, that's it? It can't just be dreams. Like, you're an old man. You still even dream?
Wait. Don't seem spoil anymore. So the title of the letter is That's It.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And so the second letter is Mr. A's response. And we want to share both of these letters. So Mr. A reads Max's letter, and he gives Max a question. And it's a great question for everyone to consider. And so it's going to open up your imagination, hopefully. So we're going to just tease it with that. And we'll keep you posted on the book. One of the things we're going to do over the next few podcasts is we're going to start taking some of the letters and talking about, just talking through some of the concepts in the letters.
It's not just going to be like summarizing the letters or anything.
No.
It's really going to be just using the letters as a way to segue us into the deeper topics that they're talking about and really get like the author's opinions on what he was trying to write and get the deeper layers of what we're trying to talk about.
Yeah. It should be fun. And we will love to have your comments on that and questions and things like that. The book is available on Amazon as a paperback and also a Kindle, and soon audiobook.
Yeah.
So enjoy these 2 letters, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
That's it. Thursday, August 21st, 1941. Dear Mr. Aureliano, I was stunned to receive your letter this week. Thank you so much for personally responding to me and your kind words. Furthermore, I deeply appreciate knowing your personal thoughts behind your story and success. After reading and rereading your letter, I simply must tell you that I remain confounded by your answer to my question. Quote unquote, dreams? I do not mean to sound impertinent, but the only way I can express my incredulity is, that's it? That's how you knew the future? That's how you began as an entrepreneur? Frankly, I was expecting something more elaborate. more complicated, well, more sophisticated. I hope that doesn't offend you, but I need to be honest about my reaction. I mean, anyone can dream, can't they? As a result of your answer, I am bursting with more questions, so I hope you will indulge me in one more letter and not write me off as some kind of knucklehead who will never succeed. In your letter, you made dreaming sound so simple. I find your dreams to be gigantic, especially for a 16-year-old man in a telegraph office in the middle of Kansas. I've been to Tescott, and it's tiny. So how did you dream so big? Unlike you, my dreams are small, if you can even call them dreams. So then my question is, how does a person dream big? Or to put it another way, what holds someone back from dreaming such big dreams? For example, if I describe my dreams in terms of geography, my dreams might extend to the border of Saline County, Kansas. By comparison, your dreams seem to extend beyond the Milky Way, and you achieved them. I'm only 21 years old, with the world before me, as they say. I work in the office of a large grain processing operation in Salina, Kansas. My job encompasses both the operations of the plant as well as some financial aspects. My title, well, I don't really have a title, but if I did, it would probably be assistant to the assistant of the assistant manager of the plant. My dream? To become manager of the entire plant someday when I'm older. But that's not really a dream, is it? Probably it is more like a goal, right? I do want to dream big, but whenever I start, I seem to always hear, there's no way I could ever do that. I'm not qualified, not smart enough. That's never going to work. What if I fail, etc.? Aren't some dreams simply ridiculous? How does one distinguish between wishful thinking and dreams that are real and big and actionable? I suppose what I really want to know is, how does one dream big dreams that are truly transformative and achievable? Do you have any suggestions? Knowing how busy you must be, I do appreciate any insights you can give me. Best regards, Max North, Salina, Kansas.
Infinite or Finite? Thursday, September 4th, 1941. Dear Mr. North, let me begin by encouraging you that you are no knucklehead. I love your forthrightness and expressiveness. Your reactions are transparent and questions insightful. Your letter left me chuckling and reveals a man of no guile. The questions you ask brilliantly cut through to the heart of the matter, causing me to pause and reflect on my life again. In fact, you show signs of having a knack for asking excellent questions, Mr. North. I have learned that it is with a curiosity similar to yours a person can seek and begin to find wisdom. Based on your first letter, I had assumed you to be a businessman with some years of experience seeking to pursue an entrepreneurial endeavor, not a 21-year-old working as an assistant of the assistant to the assistant manager. However, I surmise that you could be a man beyond his years in maturity. This is even illustrated by your own self-observation that your dream of being the plant manager is more a goal than a dream. I tell you, Mr. North, it could be both. Anyone with a vision for anything is an entrepreneur. However, life becomes a real adventure for those who act on their vision and seize opportunity. They are the ones who become entrepreneurs living into their dreams and not someone else's. I would hasten to add that these visions and dreams can go far beyond the limited realm of the business world. So yes, that is it, dreams. But I have discovered over the years that whereas dreaming may seem simple, it is curiously complicated, especially when you consider that dreams can lead to visions. To dream big depends on the size of your worldview and self-awareness. Do you see your world as getting larger or smaller? Do you see yourself as someone who can impact your world or who the world will impact? Allow me to characterize it as follows. In talking with some friends of mine who are top-level astronomers and physicists, there is a current theory that states the universe is constantly expanding. What that essentially means is the universe is infinite with ever-expanding possibilities. If that is true for the universe, why could it not be true for one's worldview? Specifically, Mr. North, what about your world, the one in which you live, Saline County? Do you see it as infinite with ever-expanding possibilities, or as finite with limited resources? Mr. North, you observe that my dreams are considerably bigger than yours, but I would ask you to consider if the opportunities that lay ahead for you are larger or smaller than mine. Whose world do you think is actually larger, yours or mine? Or to state it conversely, whose world has more limitations? Before I respond further to your other questions, I would ask you to reflect on my questions in this letter. If you are so inclined, write me back your thoughts. I look forward to a continuing correspondence with you. Sincerely yours, Mark, New York City. P.S. Incidentally, Mr. North, please address me as Mark. I believe a less formal relationship will engender a more in-depth correspondence and friendship. Thanks for listening. If there's a topic you'd like us to discuss, email us at podcast@livetrulyfree.com. And please help others find this podcast by rating and reviewing this show. And until next week's episode, may you live truly free.